Married with Gaming presents Frostgrave.
Hi, welcome to Married with Gaming.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Jen. And today we're taking a look at Frostgrave.
And a custom scenario that you designed.
Yes. So I am one of those people who enjoys like holiday themed games, holiday themed activities, all of that fun stuff. And I had an idea for a holiday themed Easter Eggstravaganza for Frostgrave.
And I found it was kind of interesting that you kind of really got into this skirmish war game thing that I didn't really think that kind of was your flavor.
Yeah, it's usually not, but I had fun and I'd been wanting to play it ever since we did our first playthrough. So I didn't tell you this, but I actually had an idea for the Easter themed Frostgrave scenario, but I also had some ideas for D&D scenarios with the Easter theme. So I thought that the Frostgrave one would be easier and for me to flesh out and put together quickly than the D&D one would be. Partly because we only need two of us to play Frostgrave, and
yeah,
I mean we could play 2-player D&D, but DM and 1 player, but it's not quite as much fun.
So why don't you tell us what you cooked up?
Okay, so I'll read you the intro that I wrote up. I wrote up a whole document. I created creatures. I created game mechanics. I did all sorts of things for it. So, centuries ago, the great city, now known as Frostgrave, was a bustling place full of people, life, and magic. Like elsewhere in the world, the coming of spring was a joyous time, celebrated with festivals and events, and there was no greater springtime event than the Great Eggstravaganza. For a week each spring, colorful eggs would appear in various hiding places around the city, patiently awaiting discovery by lucky citizens. Those finding the hidden eggs would be delighted with some magical treat, trinket, tasty delicacy, or other magical surprise. Now that the city has begun to thaw, the magic of spring has returned as well, and vibrantly patterned packages have once more been spotted among the ruins. Though corrupted by time and the evil permeating the ruins, finding a basket full of eggs may still result in treasure enough to put a spring in your step. And if you are very lucky, you may just meet the great cottontail. So that was kind of the little intro story. And I know, like, you aren't really into the holiday themed stuff as much as I am, so I appreciate that you supported me and even went so far as to help me craft things for it.
Well, it's with that kind of thing, it's always tricky situation where, like, if you try to run a Halloween themed game and don't finish it in one session, people kind of either lose interest,
yeah,
or it continues on, and you're wrapping it up and fighting pumpkin monsters on Christmas, that sort of thing. So you got to kind of figure out what your time schedule is. And with this, it's just a short skirmish game, so it kind of more easily lends itself to that.
Yeah. So we did make, we kind of redid our war bands that we had done before, because obviously your first time playing and you figure things out and you kind of see how things work. So we started with from scratch war bands this time, and that was fun. And then, like I said, we actually crafted some miniatures, which we'll show you, to go with the things that I made up. And we play tested this, kind of a run through. And we, being new players to Frostgrave, didn't get every rule exactly right, so it kind of threw off our play testing a little bit. But I'll kind of describe to you. So the scenario that I wrote, the objective is to find all the Easter eggs hidden in the play area. So the objective, the scenario ends when no eggs are left in the play area and all warbands have exited the board, even if creatures are still on the board. I created basically an Easter egg hunt. So it has, because I wanted it to be more reminiscent of an Easter egg hunt, there are more treasures than you typically find in a warband scenario or a Frostgrave scenario. And we had to add in some mechanics because of that as well. I created, basically, when you find an Easter egg, when your warband finds an Easter egg, it's still an action to pick it up like you would a treasure, but you have a few things that could happen. Nothing could happen. You could just pick up the egg and go along your merry way, or a bunny could appear on the board, or you could have an encounter where a creature appears, or you could be hit with a special Easter spell. So there were a few things that could happen. So when we play tested, we did have nothing happen a few times. We also had bunnies occur.
Yeah. Why don't you kind of go over the mechanic you had behind the spawn of that?
So bunnies, I put them basically to be kind of a nuisance, but one that the players would want to take care of, because the idea with the bunnies is, of course, they aren't really a threat to anybody, though they will attack in certain situations. But their main objective is that they will try to find other bunnies, and at the end of their turn, if there are two bunnies together, another bunny will appear on the board randomly. And those bunnies will eventually move in packs. They try to gravitate toward each other, and they will eventually move in packs. They impede movement for players, and they try to prevent you being able to pick up eggs. So we had a lot of bunnies on ours.
Yeah.
Partly because somebody decided it was more fun to try to steal my eggs than to attack bunnies.
That, and I got tied up fighting things, some spawn of other things. Why don't you kind of go over the other things that could pop up and fight?
Okay. So one of the things that could happen when you pick up an egg is you could have what I called a spring encounter. So I created a few creatures that would pop up. One was the giant duck. Quack, quack. So a loud, flappy giant duck could show up and attack your warband. Another was a deviled egg could appear. So you would go to pick up your egg, and it turned out that it wasn't actually a treasure egg. It was a deviled egg, which is a creature. And Mike helped me craft that.
You can insert pictures, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll see pictures down here probably. Another one was a basket chick, which is my favorite creature that I made. It's basically a basilisk or a cockatrice like creature, but it's a chick, and it has a basket for a tail. So if you were to kill or defeat a basket chick, you could have a chance to roll for additional treasure because of its Easter basket tail. And that was really fun to craft. I don't usually paint minis. I don't usually do anything like that, but I painted it. I put feathers on it, and I think it looks really cute, so I'm happy with it. Then you could also summon a chocolate bunny. And chocolate bunnies could shoot chocolate bombs at warband members, or they could end up being melted, so they were susceptible to fire. So each creature had its own kind of, I went through all the creature things in Frostgrave and kind of came up with a profile that was for them.
Yeah, and most of the, you enjoyed doing the scenario, and as you did the scenario and showed me what you wanted, I kind of got more into making the stuff, which was kit bashing a lot of things found at the local Dollar Tree.
Yes, we made a few trips to Dollar Tree.
The crafter's paradise of Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
So that, super glue, and a lot of just trial and error.
I kind of equated it to you were the Dr. Frankenstein, so you cut figures apart and pieced them back together, and then I dressed them up by doing the painting.
All right.
And then if you didn't get a bunny and you didn't get an encounter, you might get hit with a spring spell. And the spring spells were generally beneficial. One was kind of a nuisance, but the rest were beneficial. So you could get hit with a bunny hop spell, which caused you to sprout your warband member to sprout bunny ears and a tail and leap immediately 5 inches away in a random direction. You could get hit with Sugar Rush, and Sugar Rush would give that warband person an extra 3 inches on their next move. Jelly Bean Balm would heal you immediately, and then Spring Fever would give you an additional action on your next turn. We only got hit with Bunny Hop, I think.
Yeah. So all in all, I mean, it isn't a serious scenario.
No, it's supposed to be fun. That's how I designed it. And then when you picked up the center egg, you would summon actually, I think when you get so close to the center egg, you would summon the Great Cottontail, who is, of course, the Easter Bunny, who's a little bit cranky after being stuck with dust bunnies for a century. So the Easter Bunny was not necessarily fun, but he had a fun mechanic too, where if all of the eggs hadn't been picked up, including his, because he would be summoned before you hit that center egg, there was a range summon, then he would immediately do suggestion to anybody trying to pick up an egg, which of course, if you fail that, it causes you to drop the treasure and it pushes you back 3 inches. So that was kind of fun. So yeah, so it was kind of a fun scenario for me to make up. I had fun playing through it, even though we screwed up some rules.
Yeah, it was interesting, and especially the proliferating bunnies, in their spawn.
Yeah, and they impede your movement, and it was kind of fun to have a board full of bunnies at some point. Although, the idea was that you wouldn't let them get to that point that they got to in our game, but I mean, we probably had 20 bunnies at one point, at least. At the end of the day, I had fun playing and crafting with you, which is all that matters.
Mm-hmm. And that's the theme of our channel. Game together and have a good time doing it.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for watching, and please take a moment to like and sub.